Now, the third news that we are going to discuss today is Britain unveils plans to decarbonize its transport system. So, what is the concept of this decarbonize? Let's try to understand and how important it is from an environmental point of view. Britain unveiled plans to decarbonize its transport systems, phasing out the sale of all polluting road vehicles by 2040. So this is the important. All the vehicles will be which are polluting will be taken off the road by 2040 and committing the aviation sector to a 2050 net zero emissions target. So while the motorable roads, the motors or the cars, automobiles that ply on the roads, they will, which are causing air pollution, will be phased off by 2040. And similarly, aviation sector also by 2050 to make net zero emission target. So that then no emission should come, and there should not be any carbon emissions at all, and leading to pollution. The announcement comes ahead of Britain hosting November's COP26 UN Summit. It is also called COP26 UN Summit in Glasgow, Scotland, where it hopes other countries will agree to similar ambitious targets. So each country, the members will also perhaps will come with the similar ambitious targets. So it's a very ambitious target, phasing off by 2040. And also the aeroplanes also do not cause any carbon emissions. Very ambitious program. And it is hoping the other members also will join in the November meeting to be held at Glasgow in COP26 UN Summit. What is the COP26 UN Climate Change Conference hosted by the UK in partnership with Italy will take place from 31st October to 12th November 2021 in the Scottish Event Campus in Glasgow, UK. So this is the proposed meeting about the climate change. There is a 10-point plan for a green industrial revolution. So there's so much pollution and there is so much need to do. Recently we celebrated the World Environment Day, which was the theme of restoration of the ecosystem, greenery. So it's a green industrial revolution that should be emphasized. So that as the world looks to recover from the impact of coronavirus on our lives, livelihoods and economies, we have a chance to look at, to build back better, to invest in making the UK a global leader in green technologies. The plan focuses on increasing ambition in the following areas. So advancing offshore wind, driving the growth of low carbon hydrogen, delivering new and advanced nuclear power, so that there are no emissions, accelerating the shift to zero emission vehicle. So it could be electric vehicles, for example, there will be no emission at all by the electric vehicles. Or if it is made through fusion and hydrogen cars in future, maybe after 2050 and so, then they would have a zero emission vehicle. But right now, the proposal is to make produce more electric cars and phase off those cars run on fuel like petrol and diesel, which are emitting the carbon emissions. Green public transport, cycling and walking. So green public transport is the same thing again. In many European countries, they have the electric buses. They do not have any harmful effect on the ecology, and also green. That's called green transportation system. Cycling and walking, meaning so electric vehicles are all part of the green transport, and buses also. All the public transportation system will be run by electric vehicles. Then jet zero and green ships, greener buildings. Okay, and investing in carbon capture, usage and storage. So the idea is for the carbon emission that you are doing it, you must have carbon points. So capture as many as carbon points, use them, store them to neutralize the carbon emission effect and pollution effect, counter and neutralize. Protecting our natural environment, green finance and innovation. Green finance is financing those projects which are aimed at containing the harmful effects of the climate change, neutralizing the harmful effects of the climate change, and to maintain the ecological balance, to have a sustainable development. All such projects are called green, will be funded by green finance. Any finance funding that project is called green finance because they are aimed at preserving the environment. and also innovation. Innovation again for what? For the maintenance of sustenance of the ecology and a sustainable eco-developmental growth. So brief history, as you can see, Kyoto Protocol was started in 1987, committing to reducing greenhouse gases emission by 7%. Later, Global Climate Action Plan has come, and later, as you can see, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, now in 1992. 2016, we had Paris Agreement commitment. Now what? So what is the COP? So the COP is the supreme decision-making body of the convention. All states that are parties to the convention are represented in the COP. A key task for the COP is to review the national communications and emission inventories submitted by parties. So all the countries will bring their reports and also inventories, and this will be, which are submitted by the parties, member countries, in that meeting that will be held in Glasgow in the November, and proposed in the month of November. And there it will review not only communications and also emission and measures taken by the governments, the member country governments, to phase off the carbon emissions, and also how emission has been resulted in zero emission. All the steps taken by, and it will be examined by the COP committee. And the COP meets every year unless the parties decide otherwise. The first COP meeting was held in Berlin, Germany in March 1955. So that is like a central secretariat of this convention. How effective the UNFCCC has been. So what is UNFCCC? It is given here. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change is UNFCCC. So its process has not been effective enough in catalyzing mitigation action compatible with a below 0.2 degree trajectory, because its historical focus on emission targets has been too narrow. So the very, very less scope for the bringing about the change. What are the drawbacks of the UNFCCC? The UNFCCC was born in 1992 with three fatal flaws: a static annex system, interlinked decision making, and no formal rules of procedure. As a result, it has not been very, very effective in bringing about particularly mitigating, having a mitigating action compatible with the -2 degree trajectory, and also narrowing its focus on the emission target. Therefore, the emission targets, if we have targeted the emission, working towards the zero emission or lesser emissions, then it would have been very effective. But the focus was very narrow, and that's why not have been very successful. So UNFCCC has been not very, very effective in that sense. If the emissions gas concentration are so heavy that man-made emissions, all the combustion vehicles or industrial industries giving out the emissions, no, that is anthropogenic is man-made causes of these emissions. Then idea is to prevent such dangerous man-made interference with the climate system. Today, instead of having a eco-sustainable development, we are harming the ecology at the cost of development. Now, idea is to stabilize greenhouse concentration so that at a level that would prevent any dangerous emissions interfering with the climate system. So that is the purpose of the UNFCCC.